Man, people don't like being live. What's up, everybody? It's your boy D Mac, man. Let me go ahead and introduce y'all to one of the young bucks that I talk to on a regular. Like I said, I like to try to stay active out here talking to the younger generations that's coming up because I like to see things from their perspective and their point of view. And so Michael Merrill is one of the young gentlemen that I talk to on a regular, and we bounce ideas back and forth. So welcome to the show, Michael.
Yep. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Like you said, this is Michael Merrill. And whatever the topic's going to be, we're going to be honest and down to the truth about it. So, my generation, has been kind of rocky and crazy this 2022, man. Like, somebody made a post not too long ago saying, you know, this is just the trial version of hell for those gay people and LGBTQs and shit. So just understand, like, if you're doing wrong, don't sit here and live in that wrong and expect good things to come to your life.
What I want to get into today, and the topic that I want to talk about today, um, this goes along the lines of relationships and just relationships in general, not any specific form, lifestyle, or anything like that. This is pre-sex attitude versus post-sex attitude. And what I mean in that is our pursuit of a person up until that point of where we have that sexual interaction with them, and then our attitude towards them afterwards. Now, I'll definitely say this, that some people, when they meet some people, they are fortunate enough to have met that person that they're going to spend the rest of their life with, and they on to learn that and just go through that. People have relationships that are not built on a foundation of longevity and love and all of those things. So the terms of their relationship become quite different. And so these are the types of people that I'm talking about who are in these casual relationships, but my pursuit up to the point getting what I want out of you
That nut.
getting that nut is going to be totally different after I get that nut. And that's just the honest truth about it. And a lot of people don't want to be honest about that because we want to paint this picture like when we come at a female, we're coming at them with the purest of intentions and we want to make them wifey and all of that. And no, that is not our very first intention. Our true intention is based on our nature as a man to be attracted to the opposite sex and to want to procreate with them. And in order to what you got to do, you have to have sex in order to procreate. So of course our objective, one of our objectives is going to be to have sex with you, but that may not be our only objective. And in the building up of getting to that point of having that interaction with you, we're going to start to learn those other things that's going to make us fall in love with you or want to seek more from you than just the sex. But our initial reaction is based on our core design as a man, and that's to be attracted to you based on what we see as we're beings. And so the attitude of somebody before sex is going to be different after sex if you're just having a casual relationship.
Like Kunta was talking to me earlier about how relationships used to be like back in the day, like possibly like in the 80s, 90s and stuff. We used to actually go up to the girl's house. Like for me being a male, of course, you'll go up to the girl's house, introduce yourself to the family. Of course, the parents of the household, whether it's a mom or dad, introduce yourself and let them know what your intentions are. and then you go from there. And then you start building, you start knowing each other over time, and then of course your interactions either become more or less depending on what your interests are. But for those that have stuck it out, you getting you know, I could actually either make something with her, or I could actually, go through with having sex.
Okay, so I didn't mean to cut you off, but I want to ask you a question. Let me get a little closer. I want to ask you a question because you're from a different generation than I am. You know what I'm saying? You're what, 25?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I actually
So,
turned 25 this year.
so what do you see as far as the dating scene for, say, 25 and under, or just within your general age range? What type of activity, what type of attitude do you see from?
Man, in all honesty, I don't really hang out with that many people as much. But growing up, we were basically the experimental children that was interacting with the internet and stuff. We had all these apps to kick, Uvu, we had all these different ways to talk to other people our age and, find interest in them. And if you want to have a video chat with them, you can talk to them and stuff. But with that being the case, the whole dynamic of dating has changed because you're not actually with that person interacting with them like literally.
Yeah.
In some sense, you feel like you're in a different universe compared to this person, which may be on the other side of the world. And yeah, you could flirt and do sexy stuff on the videos and stuff, but once you lose interest, you could always look up another person. And it's just crazy how quick people would have another option rather than to stick with somebody that they want to build with. Like like Kunta was saying earlier, us as a man, like it goes down to our being, like how we act individually. The kind of woman that we're looking for is going to suit our needs and wants. A woman will exhibit that certain air that you just can't get away from. And sometimes guys would be too caught up in the game thinking, you could just have sex with any and every girl, but having no connection and then possibly having babies with those women, making them baby mamas, but they're just single mothers, man. It's like you don't know their perspective and how they take a relationship, knowing that their kid's father isn't going to see them because they're not interested in their mother, or the fact that they have made those children. We have lost that kind of connection in our day and age where everything is just so fast that we'll sit here and look at somebody, think they're a good option, talk to them for 2 minutes, find one thing or two things that's wrong with them, immediately start talking to somebody else. Like
that encompasses the whole concept of pre-sex attitude versus post-sex attitude. The whole baby mama, baby daddy crisis that we have is a prime example of that attitude. Because leading up to everything is all sweet and lovely, and this is just the love of your life, and so forth and so on. And then once you get into having sex on a regular and it's unprotected, and then the baby comes, as if you didn't know that unprotected sex can produce a baby. Now you're in a situation to you're in that post-sex part of the relationship to where the sex with this person is normalized now. It's nothing new. It's nothing exciting anymore. You're used to it now.
Yeah.
And so now you're desensitized to her body. And so now you're starting to
suffer a backlash, really.
exactly. And so that's that post-sex attitude that we carry. And now all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're a baby daddy and she's a baby mama. You're no longer sweetheart. You're no longer
lovers.
Yeah, you're no longer baby cakes. Now you that nigga. Now you that bitch. All of these different things that we throw at each other post-sex attitude. You know, um, And I try to keep that in perspective whenever I deal with the mother of my children. I'm never going to talk bad about them, whether around my children or not around my children. I just don't do that because there's no need for that. We did what we did during the time in our lives that we lived. We was only doing what we could do at that age and what we knew at that age. And so I can't hold that against nobody. And
Exactly.
so I just don't do that, man,
Yeah.
because I understand where my fault lied in a lot of that stuff and all of the baggage that I was bringing into those relationships.
Exactly. Karma is a we were just saying bitch, but
Yeah,
karma will literally backlash on you so hard for the things that you would discount for other people, when you got to understand people can do the same right to you.
yeah,
You got to
of
think
course.
about your own actions and how it'll affect other people. And now you have another life that was born from you. You start have to make decisions. You start realizing that the fun that you had when you were having sex, when you were kind of single, you weren't thinking that having a kid in your life, your decisions are now no longer just for you. You have somebody else that is going to have to look up to you.
So do you think that we lack foresight as people, just as a society? Because my dad used to teach me to always look ahead, always look at the possibilities of this in the future. What route can this go? What route can this take? How many ways can this branch off into different variables? And so I would always look at my life like that. So do you feel like there's a lack of foresight in today's society?
Really, I don't think it's the lack of foresight, but rather that is so much convenience in the world. We have literally all the information we could have right in the palm of our hands, but we would put ourselves in situations where we would act a stone cold fool and be wrong in the end.
Yeah.
Like it's not foresight in the sense that we can't go another way in this situation. It's just the lack of accountability that goes with that. They just want convenience, so for them to do the things that they want to do, that they're happy with doing.
Yeah, well, I know with as far as me, I used to be, I was really good at telling females what they wanted to hear in order to gain their trust. I was really, really good at doing that. I was very manipulative, and I'm mindful of that stuff, man. And I think back on times where I utilized those things for evil, and it probably gave somebody a bad idea of what men are supposed to be like. I contributed to that by using my skill or my ability to articulate and manipulate stuff to do the wrong thing, man. And just to get what I want, and it all boiled down to self gratification.
Yes.
And we don't have the integrity to be like, yeah, I do want sex from you, because that's ultimately the truth of the matter. I do want sex from you, but I want. We're not honest about that, and people try to make us feel like we're wrong if we are honest and say that. But like I said before, yes, that is ultimately a part of what I want from you, and I'm not going to try to downplay it and make it seem like it's a shame for me
Yeah,
to want that.
yeah,
Because
we're
you
not
think
just
of,
gonna end off as friends. Like that's inevitably how we are. We talk about gay men and how they're supposed to act around other men, but not realizing starting off or at one point you did have a certain sensation over women. There's certain pheromones that you're exposed to that would trigger.
not
And
necessarily, because some gay men say that they've never been attracted to women. Their attraction has always been to men, but whether their attraction is to men or women is a certain lifestyle, then you operate within that lifestyle. You best that you represent that you live that for we other you everybody else feel like they're wrong if they're not living your lifestyle, and we're trying to impose our lifestyle onto other people, and that's wrong no matter what your lifestyle is, and that goes for everybody all the way across the board. But we will try to pick out certain like alternative lifestyles that we don't agree with and try to highlight them as if they're the ones who the problem and they're the ones who's bringing. No, we all contribute to it. We just want to look for a scapegoat to put stuff on. And that's a lot of the times where we get that division and that misunderstanding with other people. Because I'm never going to try to make it seem like one sin is bigger than the other, like most of society will do. I don't have sin on a tier system. Sin is sin is sin, period.
All across the board.
So, a lot of people get caught up in all of the technicalities and all of the loopholes of stuff to try to further their agenda and to try to back their yeah. So no, I don't even get caught up in that. We're gonna strip it down to the bare bones of what it is, and what it comes down to is we have an attraction, and we're going to act upon that attraction because it is something that is placed inside of us. It's built in our DNA, it's built into our spirit, and we are going to pursue these things. And for people to try to make sex something shameful, sex has always been presented to us in a shameful tone. Don't have sex before marriage. Don't be going out here having sex with all of these people. Anything that was attached to sex with us coming up was don't. We were never, it was never explained to us that sex is something that's beautiful when you do it under the right pretenses with the right person. And we were never explained that. We were just told, don't have sex with somebody before marriage. Don't be messed with these little fast girls and vice versa. So sex was always a shameful thing. And so when we do have sex, that's why we always have the lights off. That's why we always have our eyes closed. And we always do it at nighttime most of the time and hidden and stuff. Because it's always been presented to us as something of shame, when this is something that is necessary for our population to continue on and for our civilization to carry on. But it's seen and it's carried and it's presented always as shame and negativity. But we have to be able to speak about our sex. We have to be able to speak about it honestly and openly, and quit trying to play these games and act like we don't have sexual desires from one to another. We do. I would be a fool to think that my wife is not turned on by another good looking person out here in this world. I'm not the only person out here in the world that turns my wife on. I know that, I understand that, but I also understand that my wife has the ability and the sensibility not to act on that attraction that she may have to somebody else. But we try to fool ourselves and try to fool other people and force them to say that they have any attraction for nobody else but that person, and that's very selfish and delusional. It's delusional, man. And I'm trying to get away from that. I work very hard on all the jealousy and all of the comparison and all of these hangups that we place upon our mates because we're insecure. I'm working on that just within myself, not for nobody else, but for me, because these are things that was revealed to me in my life. I recognize these things in me, and I don't like these things about me. So I choose to change these things. I don't allow somebody else to give me a motive or anything like that to change. No ultimatums or nothing like that. I change because I recognize something in me that I don't like, and I recognize it needs to go. And so we just need to be honest about this stuff with people and quit trying to sugarcoat stuff and dance around it.
Justify these wrongdoings just so you could continue being right in your wrong.
Yeah, yeah. I don't mind being wrong. I be real wrong. I be wrong as hell sometimes, and I
Uh,
just be arguing my point and be just as wrong. And that's something that they taught us in the military. Even if you're wrong, still argue your point with confidence. You know what I'm saying? And that's just something that was placed in me and the boldness through that. But we all want to be right. We all want to feel like we're contributing to something.
we want to, we want
So
support. We want somebody to say something behind us that, yeah, we're awesome in what we do. But sometimes that's just not the way reality is for a lot of people. Um, just recently, remember pulling up a fact about how 1% of the U.S. is just full of rich people, and the other percent of the U.S. is just low income. Like we're not making enough to be out here and be angry at each other for the things that are going on in our lives when these are things that we can all contribute to and change. Like this is literally not just as an individual, but all of us as a whole as human beings. Like we got to acknowledge the things that make us humans and stop justifying the wrongs that we get to put on other people all because we want to be right and not wrong.
well, see, that falls into the whole concept of the class system. The class system will never go anywhere. The class system is always going to be here. You're going to have that 1% who's going to have a majority of the wealth. Then you're going to have 33% who are going to be under them right in the middle in a semi comfortable space. And then 66% that is going to be the whole working class to support all of the needs and services of the ones above them. That's always going to be the structure of a government or a nation or a civilization. So the United States is never going to change on that. It's always going to have that aspect. And so, most people are just striving to try to make it to that 1 percentile. They want to be part of that 1%. But I choose to be comfortable with it wherever I'm at. Whatever
Yeah,
level I'm on, I'm going to be comfortable in that. It's not going to make me or break me no matter what level you consider me on because those levels don't even exist to me anyway. So,
but to sit here and go through whatever you go through, whatever you experience, you choose how you grow and what you expose yourself to. And knowing yourself and better loving yourself helps you to love another person.
so, going back to our topic and talking about pre-sex attitude. Now, we have a lot of times where guys will come in with totally good intentions and
Be
they will be
so
shot down because for whatever reasons they're not
jealous.
attracted to that person, and every person are well within their right to not be attracted to somebody you
Yeah,
that's just not your preference. Okay, that's well and fine, but then in the ones that you think
are you for
are
you?
those ones that are going to give you what you need and you desire, you begin to lump all or all women into the same category and start to look at all of them the same as opposed to the ones that you've interacted with versus the ones you give an opportunity to. And I don't just put that on women because men, we do this too. And so I'll say this, in the pursuit of finding somebody, man, just take your time. Patience is the key. Patience is what is lacking because everybody is so quick to not be alone and whatever, and they know how to turn on the charm. They know how to mask who they are in order to get somebody to come into their life.
It's only when it's convenient for them.
But even like I was saying before, even the woman beaters, the abusers, they know how to turn on the charm in order to get that woman relationship with her. Don't just start out just beating them on day one, punching them in the face on the first date. These guys know how to turn on the charm. They know how to charm the lady. They know how to tell them what they want to hear so that they can get that woman emotionally invested in a relationship with them, making them thinking that they're going to build a life together. And then when that switch hit and they turn into that monster that they truly are, now that woman feels obligated and she feels like she's stuck there. So these guys know how to be charming. They know how to control their behavior in order to get what they want. That's that pre-sex attitude. It's very strong. This is very powerful what I'm talking about. People,
Yeah.
when I say this, they think of it in a light context as just dudes just saying sweet stuff to get some ass. No, this is the total manipulation and the things that we go through in order to get what we want, the sexual gratification that we want. And the whole time that we're seeking out this one thing, we try to lie and make it seem like it's not about that. On both sides, the women want us to lie to them and try to convince them that we don't want what both of us want. And that's just, it's bogus.
It's
It
very
causes a
twisted.
whole lot of inconvenience and unnecessary stuff for us to go through to be in this relationship, and that's why the stuff don't last at all.
That's how I be feeling about that Austin trap. How they be on that highway, they be stopping for no reason, and you can be sitting here driving 30 like as each vehicle, but y'all is doing this slinking effect. Y'all are sitting here causing this drag and this bump. You're literally stopping the production of, you know, traffic. Whatever materials need to be transported here, people trying to go home. You're stopping all of that because y'all, or rather, not just say y'all, but for those that aren't seeking the actual pros in a relationship, often makes hell for everybody. It's not just to others, but it's also to themselves because choosing to do that, you're hurting other people, even unintentionally. And we also got to realize that nowadays, as humans, that sometimes the decisions that we don't make, the decisions that leave others quiet, like ghosting others and stuff, can indirectly hurt somebody and trigger them to, again, for a woman, may make her hate men. Like, we can't sit here, but we also can't sit here and blame a whole group for what an individual has done. We got to sit here and be honest and accountable for who we chose. Because sometimes baby mamas and baby daddies, they be mad at their significant other and their child, but they're the ones that chose to be with that person in that time and create that child. Y'all have to be accountable for y'all's actions in order for us to actually like develop a better society. We got to stop being comfortable in our convenience. We got to stop. We got to learn how to stop self-gratifying every day when we need to acknowledge the things that are going on around us. The world does not revolve around us as an individual. We got to look at ourselves as a whole, as human beings on this world. We're literally driving ourselves to extinction and doing ourselves wrong in the process. We can't sit here and love each other despite everything that's going on.
Well, that's man, that'd be a whole different episode right there as far as love, because love requires for you to acknowledge God, because God is love. And so if you can't acknowledge God, then you can't really embrace love. It's a
Uh,
whole topic right there alone, man. But you know, we don't go into these situations with love on our mind a lot of times.
We're
You,
just caught
especially
up
if
in
you
that
meet,
high.
yeah, especially if you meet somebody organically. If you meet somebody at the grocery store or on the job or out at a social gathering and something like that, y'all just click from there. Those are the things you can't really gauge what this person is going to be to you. You can't really gauge out of this. You're just interested in this person initially, and
Yes.
you want to see more. And like I said, in the pursuit to get to that point of where, hey, I want to engage with this person and be intimate, you're going to learn a lot of things about that person, and those are the things that's going to make you want to know more about them and make you want to be around them more.
Be
Now,
more
see, with us
cognitive.
guys, that's how it goes. But it seems like with females, it's like all the way up to the point of sex, they're resisting and they're showing how much they're not interested. And then after we have sex, they show how much they're interested.
But
They
then
let all of it flow out after we have sex. We let all of it flow out leading up to sex in order to get sex. So it's like
the amount
we're
of effort to do all this just for this one moment, and it didn't end off on a better note because the energy wasn't exactly reciprocated through that process.
But
It
see,
does turn off a lot of guys.
yeah, and see, that's the whole thing, though. That's the trial and error thing. Sometimes you might have that connection, and you might leading up to that point, and then when you actually have that intimate moment with that person, y'all connect on that level. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is it. And then you might be with them and be like, nah, this ain't it. And so you have the right to make that decision, but you also have to be honest with that person afterwards and be like, yo, this ain't really it. I don't have that connection, or there's something that's just not missing, and then either try to figure out what it is that's missing and see if you can work on that, or just agree to go your separate ways and not hold any hard feelings
Yeah.
and not be vicious towards each other and start trying to tear each other down because things don't work out the way you want, and that person so we can't be taking it personal and getting butt hurt because the person has a standard that they uphold to.
We
That's
all
on both
do.
sides of the spectrum. We both gotta respect that, male and female alike. If that man says that no, you're not it, you gotta be willing to accept that and be able to understand that, hey, everybody's not for everybody.
Exactly.
And go on about your business and not take that personal as like somebody saying you're not worthy or you're not adequate. Don't stop taking it like that and be able to respect the rejection and go on.
Yep. There's
But
more to life than just that one experience. Like from my experience, of course, growing up, I learned sex at a young age as well, and my understanding of a lot of things was a lot higher than most people. So I was kind of standoffish, but I definitely knew and understood about sex. But like you said, that pre
the
sex,
pre-sex attitude,
just literally your whole demeanor is different and your whole focus is different. You want to do everything you can to impress others and to impress females. Way you know how to look the part, and then to be able to speak and to do all the things that would excite a female. You're doing everything in your power to get what you want. You're not really focused on really the consequences of trying to hook up with this female, and then this female came to you and wants to hook up and you hooked up with her. Like, instead of being so caught up in the moment, you need to realize that you're really dealing with another human being. Like, that is some heavy emotional stuff that you really do go through in sex. Like, spiritually, like whatever energies that you have can easily be given to the other person or your other partner. Like, if you're going into it with an ill desire to hurt this person, like possibly abuse them in whatever way, form, or fashion, they can feel, your partner can feel that, and whatever energies they have are drained. And it could literally change anybody's mindset and whole demeanor and how they view things. Like sex is literally a turning point. It'll click something in your mind and it will change you, but it may not always be for better because of the intentions that we have behind it.
Well, I want to expound on that a little bit because we were talking about earlier. You can tell when somebody's had sex. You know, we've always seen those different scenes in different scenarios where they're like, "You had sex, didn't you? Yeah, I can see it on your face. It's all in your face. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's sex. You
man.
got your boobs
You just got some.
or they'll always allude to, man, you need to get some sex. You so uptight and you so wound up. You need to go get your boobs knot. You know, they will
Yeah.
always allude to that because there is something to that. There is a change in your demeanor. There is a change in how you carry yourself. There's a change in your spirit whenever you had sex versus before you had sex. And people can tell. You walk a little bit different. You're you know, you that sense of urgency and just wide-eyed deer
Like a
in the
little
headlight is,
kid.
yeah, that's gone now. That
Yeah.
innocence is gone now. They say when you lose your innocence, they always tie that into losing your virginity because now your eyes have been open like Adam and Eve. Your eyes have been open to, you know, the reality of this interaction, this
This
intimacy.
impact.
Yeah, this is what it's all about. And that's at that point, depending on what type of sexual experience you had, you're either going to want to have sex all the time or you're going to be very reserved because you didn't have a good experience.
Yeah.
And so, based on that, a lot of people go into their sexual relationships with baggage just based off of their very first experience. And if your first experience was molestation, then you're going to have a really hard time dealing with that type of person. You know, it's so many different variables that goes into this pre-sex versus post-sex attitude. There's so much that weighs into these decisions that we make that can ultimately change the path and the direction of our lives. You know, based
I like
off
how you
of
put
one interaction, based off of one night of sex, you know, and it changes the course of our lives. So we have to take it more seriously and really, really examine it a lot closer before we get caught up in our emotions because we feeling each other on a physical plane. You know, there's going to be a lot to come with that, benefits and consequences, but are you willing to accept both?
exactly. And if you can't even accept your own baggage and whatever you got going on with your own life, don't think that you could be Superman or Superwoman and try and take on somebody else, trying to like possibly change their life or turn their life around and stuff. If you can't be honest with yourself, then you can't truly be honest to somebody else because you don't know what you truly desire or what you truly need.
That's good, man. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up on this note, man. Michael, I appreciate you coming through, bro. I appreciate all of your insight from your generation's aspect and all of the great points that you gave. Everybody, y'all can come on, man, and leave your comments in the drop box, and we can talk about it and discuss some of these topics, man. Hey, this is your D. Once again, I want to thank my Harold for coming.
Appreciate being on here.
And y'all know what I say, man. Sticks
Sticks
and
and
stones
stones
can
can
break
break
your
your
bones,
bones,
but
but
the
the
word
word
can
will
always
always
heal
heal
you. I'm out, bro.